Sugar Ray Leonard was a legendary American boxer whose dazzling speed and technical brilliance made him a superstar of the sport. Renowned for his thrilling matches against boxing greats like Roberto Duran, Thomas Hearns, and Marvin Hagler, Leonard's career is a testimony to his extraordinary skill and charisma. His electrifying performances and captivating presence have cemented his place as one of boxing's all-time greats. Ray was born on May 17, 1956, but known to fans as Sugar Ray Leonard. He is a boxing legend who's also dipped his toes into motivational speaking and acting. Leonard was the fifth of 7 kids in the Leonard family, born in Wilmington, North Carolina. His mom, a big Ray Charles fan, named him after the famous singer. When Leonard was 3, his family packed up and moved to Washington, D.C., and by the time he was 10, they had settled in Palmer Park, Maryland. His dad worked the night shift at a supermarket, and his mom was a nurse. Leonard went to Parkdale High School. As a kid, Leonard was pretty quiet and kept to himself. His most exciting moment was when he almost drowned in a creek during a flood in Seat Pleasant, Maryland. Other than that, he spent his time reading comic books and hanging out with his dogs. His mom once said, "He didn't talk much, and we could never quite figure out what was on his mind. But he was never any trouble. I never had to go to his school for any problems." Leonard married his high school sweetheart, Juanita Wilkinson, in January 1980. Their 6-year-old son from their teenage years served as the ring bearer at the wedding. In 1984, the couple welcomed another son. They divorced in 1990. During the divorce, Juanita Leonard testified that her husband had physically abused her while drunk and occasionally used cocaine. Leonard confirmed these allegations in his own testimony, but added that the marital issues were not solely due to drug and alcohol use. After the story broke in the Los Angeles Times, Leonard held a press conference to publicly admit the truth of the accusations. He explained that he began using medication after retiring in 1982 following surgery for a detached retina. Leonard admitted to turning to cocaine as a way to cope with his frustration over his career ending. "I wanted more," he said. "I didn't want anyone telling me my career was over." He described drug use as a crutch that helped him escape his feelings of loss. Leonard quit drugs in early 1986 after a sobering moment when he saw himself in the mirror and was troubled by what he saw. He acknowledged that he could never undo the harm caused by his actions, but expressed deep regret, stating, "All I can do is say I'm sorry, but that's not enough." By 2011, Leonard told NPR that he had been sober from alcohol since July 2006. In 1989, Leonard met Bernadette Roby, the daughter of Paul Roby from the original Platters and ex-wife of Lynn Swann, at a Luther Vandross concert. Thanks to Kenny G, Leonard and Roby married in August 1993 at his $8.7 million estate in Pacific Palisades, California. The wedding transformed the estate into a garden with 10,000 roses and other flowers imported from the Netherlands. The couple has a daughter named Camille. Leonard is also the godfather of Khloe Kardashian and has appeared on several episodes of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Ray was known as one of the greatest boxers ever in the boxing world. Leonard made his mark from 1977 to 1997, snagging world titles in 5 different weight classes and becoming the undisputed welterweight champ. Along with his 4 Kings rivals, helped keep boxing exciting after Muhammad Ali retired. He fought and beat other future Hall of Famers like Hearns, Duran, Hagler, and Wilfred Benitez. Sugar Ray was the first boxer to rake in over $100 million in earnings and was named Boxer of the Decade for the 1980s. The Ring magazine honored him as Fighter of the Year in 1979 and 1981, and the Boxing Writers Association of America gave him the same title for 1976, 1979, and 1981. In 2002, The Ring ranked him as the 9th greatest fighter of the past 80 years, and by 2016, they named him the greatest living fighter. BoxRec also ranks him as the 14th greatest boxer of all time, pound for pound. As an amateur, he took home a gold medal in light welterweight at the 1976 Summer Olympics. In 1973, Sugar Ray Leonard grabbed the National Golden Gloves Lightweight Championship, but stumbled in the lightweight finals of the National AAU tournament against Randy Shields. The next year, however, Leonard came back strong, clinching both the National Golden Gloves and National AU Lightweight Championships. In 1974, Leonard faced a couple of tough breaks. He lost a close decision to Anatoly Kamnev in Moscow, but Kamnev, impressed by Leonard's performance, handed him the winner's trophy as a gesture of respect. Later that year in Poland, Leonard got knocked down 3 times in the first round by local fighter Jan Quacks, but a questionable call by the referee gave Quacks the win for a punch after the bell. Despite these setbacks, Leonard dominated the ring in 1974, winning both the National Golden Gloves and National AAU Light Welterweight Championships. He continued his winning streak into 1975, securing the National AAU Light Welterweight title again and also claiming the Light Welterweight Championship at the Pan American Games. By 1976, Leonard was on the U.S. Olympic team. Alongside other boxing stars like the Spinks brothers and Howard Davis Jr., many consider this team the best in Olympic boxing history. Leonard breezed through his first 4 Olympic fights with 5-0 decisions. In the semifinals, he defeated Kazimierz Skurba by the same score. The final saw Leonard facing the formidable Cuban knockout artist Andres Aldama, who had knocked out all his opponents to reach this stage and would later win gold at the 1980 Olympics. Leonard landed some solid left hooks in the first round and dropped Aldama with a powerful left in the second. As the final round neared its end, Leonard's combination punches forced Aldama to take another standing 8 count. With just seconds left on the clock, Leonard's final burst forced yet another standing 8 counts, securing him a 5-0 decision and the gold medal. He declared his retirement with the statement, "I'm finished. I've fought my last fight. My journey has ended. My dream is fulfilled. Now I want to go to school." He received a scholarship to the University of Maryland, a gift from the people of Glenarden, Maryland, to study business administration and communications. When Sugar Ray Leonard decided to go pro, Jenks Morton introduced him to Mike Trainer, a lawyer who agreed to back Leonard's career. Trainer rallied 24 friends and clients to chip in $21,000, which Leonard promised to repay over 4 years with 8% interest. Trainer then set Leonard up as the sole owner of Sugar Ray Leonard Incorporated. Angelo Dundee, Muhammad Ali's trainer, was brought on as Leonard's trainer and manager. Unlike others who wanted a hefty 33% cut and full control, Dundee offered a different deal. He'd set the training plan and pick Leonard's opponents, but leave the daily stuff to Dave Jacobs and Jenks Morton. For his efforts, Dundee would take 15% of Leonard's earnings. Leonard's professional debut took place on February 5, 1977, in front of 10,270 fans at the Civic Center in Baltimore. He earned $40,044 for the fight, where he defeated Luis the Bull Vega by unanimous decision after 6 rounds. Right after, Leonard paid back the $21,000 loan to his investors. By his 14th fight, Leonard was up against a world-ranked opponent, Floyd Mayweather, who was ranked 17th. On September 11, 1978, Leonard scored a knockout in the 10th round. A month later, he faced Randy Shields, a familiar foe from his amateur days, and won by unanimous decision. On August 12, 1979, Leonard knocked out Pete Ranzani in just 4 rounds to win the NAF Welterweight Championship. In his first title defense the following month, he took on Andy Price, a rising contender backed by Marvin Gaye. Despite Price's reputation for tough fights, Leonard knocked him out in the first round, pushing his record to a perfect 25-0 with 16 knockouts. On November 30th, 1979, Sugar Ray Leonard took on Wilfred Benitez for the WBC Welterweight Championship at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. With a full house of around 4,600 fans, Leonard earned $1 million while Benitez, a 2-division champ with an impressive 38-0-1 record, made $1.2 million. The fight was a thrilling chess match. In the first round, Leonard stunned Benitez with a powerful left hook after a jab and right cross. Later in the third round, Leonard sent Benitez crashing to the canvas with a sharp left jab. Benitez, more embarrassed than hurt, bounced back up quickly. By the fourth round, Benitez started finding his rhythm, dodging Leonard's punches and landing some of his own. Leonard admitted, "I didn't realize I was in a championship fight early on because I was landing punches so easily. But then he adjusted to my style. It felt like looking in a mirror." In the 6th round, an accidental head but opened a cut on Benitez's forehead, with blood streaming down but staying out of his eyes. Leonard landed some heavy punches and had Benitez in trouble several times as the fight progressed, but couldn't finish him off. Leonard remarked, no one can make me miss punches like that." Heading into the final round, Leonard was ahead on the scorecards, with scores of 137 to 130, 137 to 133, and 136 to 134. In the 15th round, the two fighters went toe-to-toe, and Leonard dropped Benitez with a left hook. Though Benitez got up, Leonard kept up the pressure, and the referee stopped the fight at 2:54 of the final round. For his stellar performance, Leonard was named Fighter of the Year by both the Boxing Writers Association of America and The Ring. In his first title defense on March 31st, 1980, Leonard faced off against British challenger Dave "Boy" Green, who had a record of 33-2. Leonard delivered a devastating left hook in the 4th round that knocked Green out cold, calling it the hardest single punch I ever threw. On June 20th, 1980, Sugar Ray Leonard stepped back into the Olympic Stadium in Montreal to defend his title against Roberto Duran in front of a crowd of 46,317. Duran, a former undisputed world lightweight champion with an impressive 71-1 record, was the top welterweight contender and widely considered the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Duran earned $1.5 million, while Leonard, with a share of the closed-circuit gate plus a guarantee, took home over $9 million. Duran aggressively took control of the fight, cutting off the ring and making it hard for Leonard to maneuver. He pressed the attack relentlessly, leaving Leonard struggling to find space and merely trying to survive. In the 2nd round, Duran landed a powerful left hook that sent Leonard reeling into the ropes. Leonard started to regain his footing by the 5th round, managing to find some room to throw his combinations. The fight was intense from start to finish. As Bill Knack described, Duran dominated the fight almost from the beginning, pushing Leonard to the ropes and landing powerful punches to the body. He never stopped moving forward, keeping Leonard on the defensive. Leonard, unable to escape or counter effectively, seemed overwhelmed by Duran's relentless assault. Though Leonard occasionally managed some counter-punches, he struggled to get his offense going. Duran was awarded a unanimous decision, though it was initially announced as a majority decision due to a miscalculation on Judge Angelo Poletti's scorecard. While Poletti's card was incorrectly reported as 147-147, he actually had it 148-147. The correct breakdown was 3 rounds for Duran, 2 for Leonard, and 10 even. Judges Raymond Baldiru and Harry Gibbs scored the bout 146-144 and 145-144, respectively. The Associated Press scored it 144-141 for Duran, while the New York Times had Leonard ahead 144-142. Leonard reflected on the fight, saying, "I did the best I could. I think I fought from the heart." When asked if Leonard was the toughest opponent he ever faced, Duran replied thoughtfully, yes. He does have a heart. That's why he's still living." On November 25th, 1980, Sugar Ray Leonard faced off against Roberto Duran in the highly anticipated rematch, labeled as Stone vs. Sugar. Once again, the fight took place at the Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans, drawing a crowd of 25,038. Leonard earned $7 million, while Duran made $8 million. Dave Jacobs, Leonard's advisor, disagreed with the immediate rematch, arguing that Leonard should have had a tune-up fight first. "I think he won the first fight, but fighting Duran again right away isn't the best move," Jacobs said. He parted ways with Leonard over this decision. After their first fight, Duran had indulged in a partying spree and gained weight. Leonard, aware of Duran's habits, was eager to fight him again. "I knew Duran would overeat and then sweat off the pounds to make weight," Leonard said. This time, Leonard used his speed and agility to outmaneuver Duran. "I was moving all the time," Leonard recalled. "I'd snap his head back with jabs and spin away when he tried to corner me." In the 7th round, Leonard began taunting Duran. One of the standout moments came late in the round when Leonard feinted a BOLO punch and instead landed a sharp left jab that left Duran visibly shaken. Leonard kept taunting, sticking out his chin, and daring Duran to hit it, but Duran hesitated. By the 8th round, with the fight clearly in his favor, Leonard continued his relentless assault. In the closing moments, Duran turned his back and told the referee, Octavio Marin, "No mas, no more," quitting the fight. Leonard was declared the winner by technical knockout at 2:44 of the 8th round, reclaiming the WBC welterweight championship. The judges' scores were 68-66, 68-66, and 67-66 in favor of Leonard. Duran later claimed he quit due to severe stomach cramps from overeating after the weigh-in. "I felt weaker and weaker," he said. That night, he was hospitalized for stomach pains, but was discharged the next day. The unexpected end stunned many, including Duran's veteran trainers, Freddie Brown and Ray Arcel. Brown was shocked, saying there was no sign of pain or weakness. Arcel, upset by the quit, remarked, "I've dealt with thousands of fighters, and no one has ever quit on me before. He needs a psychiatrist more than anything else." Duran's manager, Carlos Aleta, believed Duran quit out of embarrassment, not due to cramps. Randy Gordon, who saw Duran's pre-fight antics and post-fight condition, agreed that the quitting was related to Duran's excessive eating. Leonard reflected on the fight, saying, "Making Roberto Duran quit was even better than knocking him out." On March 28, 1981, Sugar Ray Leonard put his title on the line against Larry Bonds, the WBC's 6th-ranked contender, at the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, New York. As a southpaw, Bonds was a perfect tune-up for Leonard, who was gearing up to face another southpaw, WBA light middleweight champion Ayub Khalil. Leonard dominated the fight from the start, pressing the action while Bonds tried to stay on the move. In the 4th round, Leonard landed a powerful right hand that staggered Bonds and followed up with a combination that put him on the canvas. Although Bonds got back on his feet and kept moving, Leonard stayed on the attack. In the 10th round, Leonard knocked Bonds down again. Even though Bonds managed to rise, Leonard kept the pressure on. The referee finally stepped in and stopped the fight as Bonds was absorbing heavy blows in the corner. On June 25, 1981, Sugar Ray Leonard moved up to the junior middleweight division to take on Ayub Khalil at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. Khalil, with a perfect 36-0 record, had been the WBA light middleweight champion for 2 years. Khalil and his team thought Leonard would use his movement to stay away from him, but Leonard surprised them by fighting up close. After 8 hard-fought rounds, Leonard was leading on the scorecards, though Khalil had started to gain ground in the 8th and 9th rounds. Leonard then landed a powerful right hand that hurt Khalil and followed with a series of punches that knocked him down. Khalil got up, but the referee stopped the fight. Leonard celebrated his win with an impressive no-hands flip. Although the official stoppage time was recorded as 2:59 of the round, the fight was actually stopped at 3:06, which meant Khalil might have been saved by the bell. On September 16, 1981, Sugar Ray Leonard and Thomas Hearns faced off in a highly anticipated bout called the Showdown at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. This match was set to unify the World Welterweight Championship and drew a crowd of 23,618. Hearns earned $5.1 million for the fight, while Leonard took home over $11 million. The event raked in over $35 million in total, with $5.9 million from ticket sales and $7.5 million from pay-per-view. Hearns, unbeaten with a record of 32-0 and 30 knockouts, had claimed the WBA welterweight championship in 1980 by knocking out Jose Pepino Cuevas. The fight began with Leonard staying on the outside while Hearns pursued him. Leonard struggled with Hearns' long reach and precise jab. By the end of the 5th round, Leonard had swelling under his left eye and Hearns had a solid lead on the judges' scorecards. In the 6th round, Leonard's aggression paid off when he landed a left hook that hurt Hearns. Leonard dominated the 6th and 7th rounds, but Hearns regained his footing and started to outscore Leonard. As the fight went on, it shifted into a tactical battle between the powerful Hearns and the clever Leonard. Hearns won rounds 9 through 12 on all 3 judges' scorecards. Between the 12th and 13th rounds, Leonard's trainer, Angelo Dundee, told him, "You're blowing it, son. You're blowing it." With a badly swollen left eye, Leonard came out strong in the 13th round. After hurting Hearns with a right hand, Leonard unleashed a flurry of punches. Hearns was driven through the ropes, but managed to get back up, only to be knocked down by Leonard's powerful combination as the round ended. In the 14th round, Leonard staggered Hearns with an overhand right, and then pinned him against the ropes. Leonard's furious attack led referee Davey Pearl to stop the fight, crowning Leonard the unified world welterweight champion. Hearns was ahead on the scorecards with scores of 124 to 122, 125 to 122, and 125 to 121. The fight stirred controversy over the scoring of rounds 6 and 7, which Leonard dominated, but were scored 10 to 9 by all judges. Some critics felt the 10-point must system was applied incorrectly, and the stoppage was seen by some as premature. Ringside commentator Don Dunphy expressed disbelief, saying, "They're stopping the fight. I don't believe it." Hearns was ahead on points. Meanwhile, Hearns' manager and trainer, Emmanuel Stewart, defended the referee's decision, stating, "Tommy did not have enough energy to make it through the fight." The bout was named Fight of the Year by The Ring, and Leonard earned accolades as Fighter of the Year from both The Ring and the Boxing Writers Association of America. He was also honored as Athlete of the Year by ABC's Wide World of Sports and Sportsman of the Year by Sports Illustrated. On February 15, 1982, Sugar Ray Leonard defended his unified title against Bruce Finch, the WBC's fourth-ranked contender, in Reno, Nevada. Leonard ended the fight with a knockout in the 3rd round. His next match was set for May 14, 1982, against Roger Stafford in Buffalo, New York. However, during training, Leonard started seeing floaters in his vision. A visit to the doctor revealed a detached retina, forcing the fight to be canceled. Leonard underwent surgery on May 9, 1982, to fix his retina. On November 9, 1982, Leonard held a charity event in Baltimore, Maryland, inviting boxing stars like Marvin Hagler. Standing in the ring with Howard Cosell, Leonard announced his retirement, revealing that a fight with Hagler would never happen. Though his eye had healed, Leonard said he simply wasn't interested in boxing anymore. Feeling the pull of the sport and competition, Leonard announced his comeback in December 1983. He planned to have a few 10-round matches and then face top fighters like Milton McCrory, Donald Curry, Duran, Hearns, and finally Hagler. This announcement was met with criticism from fans and media who worried about the risks to his surgically repaired eye. Leonard's first comeback fight against Kevin Howard, a Philadelphia boxer with a 24-1 record, was set for February 25, 1984. It was postponed due to minor surgery Leonard needed on his right eye to fix a loose retina, which only fueled the concerns about his return. Before the fight, Dave Jacobs rejoined Leonard's team in a limited capacity. Jacobs had left in 1980, disagreeing with Leonard's decision to have an immediate rematch with Duran. Leonard faced Howard on May 11, 1984, in Worcester, Massachusetts. In a surprising twist, Howard knocked Leonard down flat on his back in the 4th round, marking the first time Leonard had been knocked down in his career. Leonard rallied to stop Howard in the 9th round, though some felt the stoppage was too soon. Leonard was ahead on all 3 judges' scorecards when the fight ended. At the post-fight press conference, Leonard announced his retirement once again, stating he felt he no longer had the edge. On March 10, 1986, Marvin Hagler defeated John Mugabe by knockout in the 11th round, retaining his undisputed world middleweight championship for the 12th time and pushing his record to 62-2. After the match, Hagler hinted that it might be his final fight. Leonard, who was watching from ringside, was astonished to see Mugabe, known as the Beast, outboxing Hagler. This led Leonard to decide to return to the ring to challenge Hagler, telling Mike Trainer, "I can beat Hagler." On May 1, 1986, Leonard made his comeback announcement on a talk show in Washington, D.C., revealing he would fight Hagler. This news stirred controversy due to Leonard's long absence from the ring and his previous eye injuries, but also thrilled fans who had been waiting for this match for years. After some time to consider, Hagler agreed to the fight. The bout, dubbed the Super Fight and the King of the Ring, was set for April 6, 1987, at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. Leonard was guaranteed $11 million, and Hagler was promised $12 million. Hagler was the heavy favorite, with odds initially at 4-1, then settling at 3-1. The fight drew a crowd of 12,379 and generated a live gate of $6.2 million, with a total gross of $78 million, about $179 million in today's dollars. Leonard's original strategy was to engage Hagler closely and try to cut him, but after a sparring session with Quincy Taylor left him shaken, Leonard decided to adopt a more cautious approach. Many were surprised when Hagler, a natural southpaw, started the fight in an orthodox stance. Leonard quickly won the first 2 rounds on all 3 scorecards, but Hagler switched to southpaw in the third. Although Hagler improved, Leonard's speed and skill kept him in control. Hagler appeared stiff and missed many shots, prompting CBS commentator Gil Clancy to remark on Hagler's struggles. By the 5th round, Leonard began to tire from his constant movement, and Hagler started closing in. Hagler buckled Leonard's knees with a right uppercut near the end of the round, leaving Leonard on the ropes. Hagler continued to score effectively in the 6th round, but Leonard fought back, landing punches along the ropes and winning some exchanges. Hagler didn't dominate as he had in previous fights, and his punches lacked the power they once had. Leonard's assessment that Hagler had slowed down was accurate. The 9th round was the most dramatic, with Hagler hurting Leonard and trapping him in a corner. Leonard fought his way out, and both fighters had their moments, but Hagler's were more impressive. Round 10 was quieter, but Hagler had some notable moments. Despite visible fatigue, Leonard performed well in the 11th, countering Hagler's attacks with flashy moves. Leonard's trainer, Angelo Dundee, urged him on between rounds, while Hagler's corner remained calm. In the final round, Hagler pursued Leonard and landed a big left hand, backing Leonard into a corner. Leonard responded with a flurry of punches, getting the crowd excited even though he landed only a few. Hagler backed off, and Leonard danced away to the final bell. The fight ended with both fighters exchanging along the ropes, and the crowd cheered Leonard's performance. Leonard threw 629 punches and landed 306, while Hagler threw 792 and landed 291. Leonard won a split decision that sparked controversy. Judge Dave Moretti scored it 115-113 for Leonard. Lou Filippo had it 115-113 for Hagler, and Jose Guerra scored it 118-110 for Leonard. Many believed Hagler deserved the win for his aggression and power, while others argued Leonard deserved the decision for landing more punches and displaying better defense. Scottish journalist Hugh McIlvany criticized Leonard for relying on flashy punches rather than power. Conversely, Jim Murray praised Leonard for exposing Hagler's weaknesses and making him look ineffective. The differing views on the scorecards reflected the polarized opinions on the fight. On November 7, 1988, Leonard made a return to boxing, taking on Donnie Lalonde at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. The match was for Lalonde's WBC Light Heavyweight Championship and the newly established WBC Super Middleweight Championship, which required Lalonde to weigh in at 168 pounds. Critics argued that it was unfair to have Lalonde defend his light heavyweight title at this lower weight, suggesting it might weaken him. Lalonde, however, later told HBO's Larry Merchant that he had no trouble making weight. Lalonde, with a record of 31-2 and 26 knockouts, was guaranteed at least $6 million, while Leonard was guaranteed over $10 million. This fight was Leonard's first since parting ways with his longtime trainer, Angelo Dundee. For the Hagler fight, Dundee had worked without a formal contract and was paid $175,000, which Leonard felt was fair, but Dundee was dissatisfied. Leonard refused to sign a contract for the Lalonde fight, stating, "I don't have contracts. My word is my bond." Jenks Morton and Dave Jacobs trained Leonard for this bout. Lalonde's size and unorthodox style posed problems for Leonard. In the 4th round, Lalonde landed a right hand that knocked Leonard down for only the 2nd time in his career. Early in the 9th, Lalonde hurt Leonard with a right hand to the chin. Leonard responded with a powerful right hand that staggered Lalonde, then pinned him against the ropes and launched a fierce attack. Lalonde was knocked down by a left hook, but managed to rise, only to be knocked down again shortly after, leading to the fight being stopped. 2 judges, Chuck Jampa and Franz Marty, had Leonard ahead with scores of 77-74 and 77-75, respectively, while Judge Stuart Kirschenbaum had Lalonde ahead 76-75. Following the fight, Leonard relinquished the light heavyweight title but retained the super middleweight title. Leonard and Jenks Morton also parted ways due to personal differences, and Morton was replaced by Pepe Correa, who had previously worked with Leonard for many years. On June 12, 1989, Leonard defended his WBC Super Middleweight Championship in a rematch against Thomas Hearns at Caesars Palace, a fight billed as the war. Hearns was guaranteed $11 million, while Leonard was guaranteed $14 million. In the third round, Hearns knocked Leonard down with a right cross. However, Leonard made a comeback in the fifth round, dominating Hearns and pushing him around the ring. Early in the seventh round, Hearns hurt Leonard but then exhausted himself trying to finish the fight. Leonard took advantage of Hearns' fatigue and finished the round strongly. Leonard continued to excel in the 9th and 10th rounds, but trouble arose in the 11th when Hearns landed 3 powerful right hands, sending Leonard down for the second time. Knowing he needed a strong finish, Leonard fought fiercely in the final round. The fight ended in a draw, allowing Leonard to retain his title. Judge Jerry Roth scored at 113-112 for Hearns. Judge Tom Kazmarek had it 113-112 for Leonard, and Judge Dalby Shirley scored at 112-112. Shirley was the only judge to award Leonard a 10-8 score in the 12th round. If Shirley had scored at 10-9 like the other judges, Hearns would have won by split decision. Leonard later admitted that Hearns deserved the win. On December 7, 1989, Leonard defended his title against Roberto Duran, the reigning WBC middleweight champion. Duran was guaranteed $7.6 million, while Leonard's deal ensured him over $13 million. For this bout, Leonard trimmed his team from 21 to just 6 members, keeping only Correa as his trainer. Leonard, who had previously avoided intense training, allowed Correa to push him hard. "For the first time in a long while, I'll let someone really challenge me," Leonard said. The fight was held at the New Mirage Hotel in Las Vegas. Leonard's strategy of constant lateral movement led to a decisive 12-round unanimous decision victory over a passive Duran. The judges scored at 120-110, 119-109, and 116-111. Despite Leonard's dominance, the bout was considered dull by many spectators, who booed throughout and some even left before the decision. Sports Illustrated's Pat Putnam commented, "Leonard delivered technical brilliance when fans wanted excitement, and they responded with boos. Most fight fans wouldn't pay to see Van Gogh paint, but they'd fill Yankee Stadium to see him cut off his ear." Although Leonard controlled the fight, he sustained several cuts. His lower lip was sliced by a headbutt in the 4th round, his left eye was cut in the 11th, and his right eye was cut in the 12th. In total, he needed 60 stitches to repair the damage. By August 1990, Leonard gave up the WBC super middleweight title, citing that he was underweight for the division. He then proposed a third fight with Hearns, but Hearns had moved up to the light heavyweight division, unable to make the weight. On February 9, 1991, Leonard dropped to 154 pounds to challenge WBC light middleweight champion Terry Norris at Madison Square Garden. Although Leonard was a 3-1 favorite, Norris outclassed him throughout the match, delivering a thorough beating. Norris knocked Leonard down with a left hook in the 2nd round, and again with a short right in the 7th. Leonard struggled to cope with the younger, faster opponent. He managed to go the full distance but lost decisively with scores of 120-104, 119-103, and 116-110. Following the fight, Leonard announced his retirement, stating, "This fight made it clear to me that my time has passed. Tonight was my last fight. I now understand how Hagler felt." In October 1996, at 40 years old, Leonard declared he was coming out of retirement to face 34-year-old Hector Camacho for the International Boxing Council (IBC) Middleweight Championship, a title that wasn't highly regarded. Camacho, known for his light punches, was a former 3-time world champion with a record of 62-3-1, but was considered past his prime. Leonard decided to take on Camacho after commentating on Camacho's bout against the 45-year-old Roberto Duran the previous year, calling the controversial unanimous decision an early Christmas gift. Leonard attributed his lackluster performance against Norris to several factors: a lack of motivation, a rib injury, moving down in weight, and his ongoing divorce, which was in litigation during his training. Fighting Norris at 154 pounds was a mistake, Leonard admitted. This time is different. I'm in top shape. For the Camacho fight, Leonard enlisted a new trainer, Adrian Davis, whom he praised as a throwback, who helped him prepare effectively. In January 1997, Leonard was announced as a new inductee into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in Canastota, New York. According to the rules, a boxer must be retired for 5 years before being eligible. And since Leonard had been retired for over 5 years by the time of the vote, he was eligible despite having a fight scheduled. The induction ceremony took place on June 15, 1997. The bout with Camacho occurred on March 1, 1997, in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Camacho applied pressure from the start, landing significant punches and opening a cut above Leonard's right eye in the 4th round. In the 5th round, Camacho knocked Leonard down with a right hand followed by 2 left uppercuts. Although Leonard got up, he couldn't defend himself effectively, and the referee stopped the fight as Camacho continued to hit a defenseless Leonard on the ropes. This marked the only knockout loss of Leonard's career. Following the fight, Leonard announced his retirement, stating, "My career is definitely over for me in the ring." However, just a week later, he expressed intentions to return, attributing his loss to a torn right calf muscle. Despite his doctor's advice to cancel the fight, Leonard proceeded, receiving a Novocaine shot before the bout. Leonard initially planned to have a series of tune-up fights before challenging a champion. He was slated to fight Tony Menifee on February 15, 1998, in Australia, but withdrew, citing a lack of motivation. The bout with Camacho ended up being Leonard's final fight, and he concluded his career with a record of 36-3-1, including 25 knockouts. Leonard has worked as a boxing analyst for several networks, including ABC, CBS, NBC, ESPN, HBO, and EPIX. His longest stint was with HBO, where he was a fixture for over 10 years until 1990. The relationship ended after HBO was not given a chance to bid on the rights to Leonard's fight against Terry Norris. HBO felt it would be inappropriate for Leonard to stay with them if they couldn't broadcast his fights. Leonard's lawyer, Mike Traynor, stated there was never a connection between his broadcasting and his fighting. Leonard has also done commercial endorsements for big brands like Coca-Cola, EA Sports, Ford, Nabisco, Revlon, and 7-Up. His most famous ad was for 7-Up in the early 1980s, featuring his son Ray Jr., Roberto Duran, and Duran's son Roberto Jr. Today, Leonard is a highly sought-after motivational speaker. His speech, titled Power, Prepare, Overcome, and Win Every Round, is frequently booked by major Fortune 500 companies both in the US and internationally. In addition to his work as a speaker, Leonard has acted in several TV shows. He's also appeared in movies like I Spy and The Fighter, 2010, which reminded him of his fight with Dickie Eklund. Leonard also served as an advisor for the 2011 film Real Steel and was the host and mentor on The Contender. Sylvester Stallone co-hosted the first season as an executive producer, and Tony Danza took over as host for the final season when Leonard left. In 2001, Leonard founded Sugar Ray Leonard Boxing Incorporated, a boxing promotional company. The company teamed up with ESPN to produce Sugar Ray Leonard and ESPN2 Presents Friday Night Fights, a monthly show that aired for a year. However, the company was dissolved in 2004 following a dispute with his partner Bjorn Rebne, whom Leonard described as a cancer in my company. Leonard reflected, "We did some great shows with evenly matched fights, and I took great pride in it. But the TV show made my decision easier. I had been thinking about dissolving the company, as the working environment wasn't healthy." Leonard also competed on Dancing with the Stars in its 12th season, starting on March 21, 2011, with partner Anna Trebunskaya. He was eliminated in Week 4. On the Colbert Report in 2011, he lost a thumb wrestling contest to host Stephen Colbert. Leonard appeared as a guest on Hell's Kitchen in its 10th season and is the celebrity spokesperson for the Atlanta law firm John Foy and Associates, PC. Leonard was also referenced in a Seinfeld episode, Season 6, Episode 21, where George tries to impress his boss by saying he resembles Sugar Ray Leonard. Leonard, a Seinfeld fan, later watched the episode after receiving a DVD set as a gift from friends. In March 2019, Leonard appeared on Good Mythical Morning, a popular YouTube morning show hosted by Rhett McLaughlin and Link Neal. During the March Milkness series, Leonard helped break a tie between Fruit Loops and Oreo O's, ultimately sending Fruit Loops to the finals, where they were defeated by Cinnamon Toast Crunch. For many years, Leonard has served as the international chairman for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation's Walk for a Cure, playing an active role in raising awareness and funds for the cause. In 2009, Leonard testified before the Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Government Affairs during a hearing titled Type 1 Diabetes Research: Real Progress and Real Hope for a Cure. He spoke about the impact of diabetes and the importance of continued funding for research to find a cure. Leonard and his wife, Bernadette, established the Sugar Ray Leonard Foundation to support the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation and its annual Walk for a Cure. In 2009, the foundation expanded its efforts to include community rebuilding programs in 10 U.S. cities, focusing on accessible housing, healthcare services, educational support, and job training. In 2007, Leonard received the Ambassador Award of Excellence from the LA Sports and Entertainment Commission at the Riviera Country Club, recognizing his ongoing contributions to the community. In his autobiography, The Big Fight: My Life in and Out of the Ring, published in June 2011, Leonard discloses that he experienced sexual abuse as a young boxer, both from an Olympic trainer and a benefactor. Since then, he has publicly addressed the issue of child sexual abuse, positioning himself as a poster child for the cause and urging other victims to come forward and report their abuse.